Welcome to Eggcellent Adventures, where I, your host Reec Swiney, take a step away from my duties as a radio and TV personality and give you a first-hand look at my other love, BlackYard Chickenz and homesteading. Take a listen to conversations I have with others who are in farming, homesteading, and connected brands. And some of those conversations go a little like this.
She does say I have too much, though. She says I have too many, but I don't think I have enough.
The chicken math started mathing.
Yep, it's never ending.
I only started with like 4 laying hens. Now I have over 100 chickens and geese and quail.
So the first question we ask everybody that comes on to the Eggcellent Adventures, what was your old cluck moment?
The first thing that comes to mind is when the first time I got locked inside one of my own chicken coops.
We talk about the highs, the lows, and everything in between. Now let's see who's on this episode of Eggcellent Adventures. Here we go again, back at it. Another episode of Eggcellent Adventures. Got another special guest here with me, man. Shishana Rourke, the adventures of Shishana Rourke. You have been doing some incredible things. We've all been watching. You got like 400,000 people on your Facebook page. This thing's blowing up. How you feeling today?
Good. Kind of a little tired just having to run around after kids and animals and all that fun stuff. But, that's part of it.
Yep, that's it. And that's what I was saying, like a little off camera. This is a real life podcast, real life people doing real life animal things. Yep. And I know you got the baby there too.
Yes. He is 2 weeks now. So,
Okay. Yeah, we all love your cartoon, like Disney Pixar thing with you, your husband, the baby inside of the belly, and Hank.
Yeah. I did that on one of the AI generators, and it blew my mind. I was like, oh my God, this is the most amazing thing I've ever seen in my life, and that is definitely going up.
Cool. It definitely hit it on the head. When I did mine, I looked like Idris Elba or something. I was like, this isn't me at all. Yours actually looked like you guys. I think I was on the wrong.
It took me about 100 times to get it.
Okay. So I don't feel too bad now. This is how we kick off every single episode. We ask you, what was your old cluck moment? That's the moment you knew for sure this is what you were doing with your life. So what was your old cluck moment where you knew you were going to be in the ranching and exotic rescue and rehab life?
Honestly, I think I have about 12 of those because it's always changing. I guess like when it came to chickens, my husband and we went out to dinner. It was like some fancy dinner too. And I was on my phone and I just came across something and I just started sending Noah just like little bits and pieces about chickens. And and he just like turns to me and looks and it's just like, is this really what you're doing right now? Like we were at it was like a business meeting or something. And I'm like, it's your business, not mine.
I'm into this chicken business right now.
Yeah, and I had chickens as a kid, and I had one. He was a super sickly, kind of gross looking little chicken. Like he was pretty sad looking, and I named him Turkey, and he was my friend. And he'd come when I called him. We'd go on like little walks together. He outlived all the other chickens, which was amazing because like I said, he was sickly. And and then as for the exotics, every time I bring something home, I think it's an o'clock moment. Like, what did I just do?
Just change the game up a little bit more. That's an incredible story. I know you're in Texas now, but you grew up in Alaska.
Yes. Yeah.
Tell me about that.
I was actually born in the Caribbean. I was the first child adopted from St. Lucia into the United States. And I went straight to Alaska.
Hold on. Wait a second. You went from one of the most tropical places on Earth to the coldest place on the planet.
Yeah.
Talk about culture shock.
I mean, it's I love both places. People always ask me which one I prefer. I absolutely love both places, and it's hard to compare them. I mean, Alaska to the Caribbean, like,
right.
You can't really compare that. So, Alaska, though, I have to say is probably my absolute favorite place on earth. People think that Texas is like, super hot and like mild winters and all that kind of stuff. But I tell you right now, last week, it was about 10, 15 degrees colder here than it was in my hometown in Alaska, and I was ready to go back.
I understand that. I
Yeah.
understand. It gets cold here too. I'm in Georgia, and folks are like, "Oh, this guy, I love the weather there." It was 13 degrees last week for a good
Yep.
4 or 5 days in a row.
Yep. And yeah, I mean, I tell you, going out to the barn, well, you're, used to it, but going out to the barn and having to, every single day having to deal with those animals and, whatever crazy things they decide to throw at you that day. I mean, it gets a little rough sometimes when it's, 5-10 degrees outside, but, I mean, we do it because we love it. So.
Absolutely, do it because we love it, and
Yeah.
sometimes it does not feel like work when you're out there.
No. I mean, when I'm out there with my kids and, my son is out chasing around the water buffalo and, torturing his ponies or whatever, I mean, it's not work, at that point. Like, but then it definitely, especially with the rescue, some days it's definitely work when you have to put one down or something like that. It's really hard. It takes a toll on you and all that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. So.
Yeah, but having a rescue and your goal to rehab and to give those animals a second chance of life, that's fulfilling within itself. We just want to say thank you for what you're doing with that.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, it's a challenge. It always seems like the ones that I absolutely fall in love with are the ones that I lose. I mean, I love all of them, but we just lost Scarlet not too long ago, which was the last rescue that I had taken in before having Cannon. And it was a challenge. It's still like, even when I think about it and all that kind of stuff, like it still kind of gets to me. So, I mean, it does take a special kind of person to be able to completely detach, because that's really what you have to be able to do to continue through it, is you have to be able to detach. And for me, I go into it just with the mindset of, if they make it and I'm able to give them a new home and a new life, then, that's a bonus. And if they don't make it, then I gave them a really awesome last 5 days or, a month or whatever, I gave them a really good step to the next side. So
I can see that. It comes across in the videos and the reels and pictures and everything that you guys post, that you are giving them the best that you got, and they are loving and appreciate every second of it, no matter how long or short it is.
Yeah. It's crazy. And I have people that they don't understand, like, why my kids are involved in, like, when a horse dies or something. And I'm like, it's part of life. Like, it sucks. It sucks for me. I can only imagine how my kids feel about it, but it's part of life. I'm not going to shelter them from that. I mean, it's part of it. So, but teaching them compassion and respect of the animals. And, there are not a lot of children that get to experience that part of, life.
No,
So.
no, I know I didn't. I grew up in the city for the most part. I stayed with my grandparents, sometimes in North Carolina, got to be around certain things. And I think that's where I caught the animal bug. But you're right. A lot of kids don't get to experience that. Like, I know I didn't get to experience full grown horses and stuff like that. So it's gotta be incredible.
Yeah.
Tell me about that. Like, when, I got a 2-part question. So when did you get started? I know at the dinner table at the fancy restaurant, you're shooting over chicken information. When did you get started with that? And then I'm going to ask you, when did you get started with the actual rescue aspect of it?
So the chickens actually came after the rescue.
Okay, so usually chickens are the gateway drug.
No, not here. Well, I mean,
started with the marijuana of animals last.
I feel like little girls, though, when it comes to, like, horses and ponies, I mean, that. So we actually, I guess if you go in order of it, I guess we did have chickens first, but that was like a long time ago when I was little. Growing up in Alaska, we had chickens. It's kind of hard to keep chickens in Alaska.
It's a lot of predators and snow.
Yeah, I mean, things are coming out of the sky to eat them. And, like, I mean, it's, if you think that hawks and stuff down here are crazy, we lived in the eagle capital. And so, I mean, when you're running around with a little chicken and an eagle decides that it wants that chicken and it's not scared of you, That's like the most terrifying thing in the world.
I bet it is. And these are not hawks. These are eagles, 7-foot wingspan. I saw one post the other day in Alaska, and it was like 50 eagles in somebody's yard.
Yep. There was one time that I was outside, and there was one of those like updrafts or something where it was hot, and all these eagles were swarming to it. And I sat there and counted, and I literally counted over 300 eagles. And I mean, it's scary. Like,
it is.
So, but I mean, we had times that I remember one time, and like specifically, that I was in the middle of a riding lesson, and all of a sudden I hear this racket, and I look up, and there's a big eagle flying overhead with chickens. Like, he dropped like one, or but I mean, he had like a whole bunch of chickens, and they just
60s.
like, I mean, they just so, and we're like running after, we're throwing things at him, and nope, see ya. So
wow.
But so the chickens, that's kind of where the chickens started, I guess, was back in Alaska. And then I didn't have chickens for a very long time until actually just recently. We bought a new house, and the people that we bought the house from left all the chickens. They left all the donkeys, and a cat. And so I moved into my new house, and there were all these animals. And so, so that started the chicken thing again.
Okay.
And then with the rescue, I started horseback riding lessons when I was 8. My mom bought me my first lessons, and that just started that whole, I mean, I was homeschooled, so I focused my entire day around, getting outside so that I could go ride my horse through town. My best friend was homeschooled too, so we would literally just take off for the day, and between our families, we had like 20 horses, and our goal was always to ride every horse every single day. So, and I would travel throughout the United States. We went to different clinics, all that kind of stuff. And then when I was in college, I decided that I didn't want to be a horse trainer. I liked the science behind the horses. I liked figuring out what made them tick, what made them look their best, and be able to compete their best. And I liked training for myself. I love training for myself. I just don't want to do it for the public.
Gotcha.
So then the rescues I was breeding horses, and then the rescues just slowly crept in, and people found out about me. And so they would oh, hey, I found this small little animal in the middle of the road. Do you want to take it? And I'm like, no, I don't really want to, but I guess I will. And, and then it started being horses and all that kind of stuff. And it kind of just grew and grew and grew. And now it's horses, water buffalo, I mean, zebra, I don't know, whatever shows up at my door. So
what was the weirdest and funniest call that you got about an animal there's somebody's trying to give you guys?
Oh, that's a good question. The weirdest and funniest call. Well, I got a call about a water buffalo, the newest water buffalo that we have in the family. Actually, I didn't get a call. I was out there when we found her. And she was trying to nurse off of a bull, which he was not too excited about that. So they were she was kind of getting pushed around and all that kind of stuff. And they were watching her. And so I ended up leaving, and then they called me that night, and they were like, do you want her? And I'm like, not particularly, but let me come. I'll meet her. I'll see how I feel about it, all that kind of stuff. And then if I want her, I'll come back and get her. Well, I get out there, and of course I fall in love with her. She's so sweet. She just wants to, and I'm like, it's an hour and a half drive to get out here. So do I really want to, so I ended up putting this little water buffalo in the front seat of my husband's truck.
I know he was happy about that.
Well, we didn't tell him until we got almost home, and then we sent him a picture.
Hello. So you're riding an hour and a half with a water buffalo in the front seat of a truck.
Yep. Yeah. And at one point I drive past, the truck is huge, so people can't easily see in.
Yeah.
But at one point I passed a semi driver and he looks in and does a double take and then almost drives off the road. And I'm just like, hey.
Because if I look in your seat and I see a water buffalo, I'm gonna have questions.
Well, I mean, like if you look through some of our reels, we have a miniature stallion. His name is Felix. He's also one of my rescues. And he now gives back we go to hospitals and schools and all that kind of stuff. Well, I got tired of having to do the whole truck and trailer, big rig. And especially we're going to these little places that some of them it's hard to turn around, all that kind of stuff. So I taught my boys to just jump in the back seat of my car. So I have videos of myself, like driving and literally looking in the mirror, and I leave the windows open because Felix likes to put his head out the window and he likes to neigh at cars as we drive by. So, I mean, if it fits, it sits,
If it fits, it sits. That is the new motto. If I could only train my Great Pyrenees to get in the back seat, that'd be great. She hates the car.
Well, you know what? I mean, maybe get her a pony that gets in there and maybe, they buddy up and there you go.
There we go. I love it. Now, I know that's a heck of a cleanup if they have to go in the back seat.
Actually, my guys are potty trained.
How do you potty train a pony? This is a whole new episode.
It's a lot of work. But my guys, they go to the bathroom before we get in the car, and then they are allowed to have access to go potty before we go inside again. And then typically up to 4 hours, they won't go to the bathroom. We have had accidents, but
Gotcha.
They're pretty good about kind of telling me when they need to go to the bathroom. So we've never had accidents like on the floor or anything.
There we go. I love that. My goat peed in my truck and it stank for like a month. I was going, if it fits, it sits. I went to pick up a rescue goat, and on the first trip, we stopped at Starbucks for a pup cup, and then on the way back, she had a pee-pee.
I mean, I will say that if you buy those puppy pads, those work really well. Just saying.
That'll be my next. Thank you for that. That is an excellent nugget this will be a whole separate episode. Potty training the pony, part 1.
There you go.
That's great, man. Tell me about these exotics. What do you have on the ranch right now? We know buffalo, we know horses. What else is there? Because I saw you playing with the lemur the other day.
Yeah, so actually at the moment we only have one exotic on the ranch, which is Tilly, our baby buffalo. I kind of tried to downsize and spread out all my creatures while having this baby and everything, just so that I wasn't overwhelmed and that I had to pass them off. We had to have a pet sitter come in while I was in the hospital and such. My big guy likes to rearrange the whole entire property, so I didn't want to do that while I was in the hospital and somebody else was having to care for him. So so at the moment that's all we have, but I have a friend who has my big guy. She also has lemur and like all that kind of stuff. My husband actually just cleared me to get a wallaby.
A wallaby.
Yes.
You're getting a wallaby.
A wallaby.
Cool. How does that happen? How does that conversation happen? Please give me the breakdown.
Well, it would be a lot easier of a conversation if he drank. He doesn't.
Hold on. Let's have a sober conversation about me wanting a wallaby. Here's 3 reasons why.
I mean, it's one of those things that I try to add to our ranch to bring people in so that we can offer tours and that sort of stuff. Because, all of our money goes back to the rescues. So when I do like a project horse or something and I offer it to the public, that money from that project horse goes back into the rescue fund and helps, pay for all of that. That's amazing. I typically am not going out and purchasing exotic animals, but there are a lot of exotic animals that actually end up at sales. So like we've had zebras and zonkeys, and we had a Patagonian Mara, which if you don't know what that is, it's like if you mix a deer and a guinea pig and a rabbit all in one. They're about, let's see, probably about a foot tall, maybe.
They freeze, right? Because they're praying. Are those the ones that kind of freeze when you walk up on them?
They kind of do, but then when they start running, they can actually run like 40 or 45 miles per hour.
That's crazy.
And if you corner them, they will go on attack. It's terrifying. But so we had Mara, and I mean, we've had kind of a little bit of everything, and we then will try to find new homes for them and that kind of stuff.
Gotcha.
And so like Cody, his name was Barcode. We called him Cody. He was half zebra, half donkey.
Okay.
And we sold him to a family down in San Antonio, Texas, and they use him for livestock guardian.
Okay.
So I got him as a youngster and kind of bottle fed him. He was another one that I actually he was in the back seat of my truck.
So we've got a water buffalo, we've got a pony, we've got a zonkey.
We had a zebu in there too, which is an exotic cow.
Okay.
And all of these animals also lived in my house as well. So
I see.
Yeah. And mind you, my husband didn't so much as have even a dog before he met me.
Oh, that's culture shock. That's like you moving from St. Lucia to Alaska.
I think it's a little worse than that, actually.
It might be. Wow.
Yeah, he got thrown right in. He's and yeah, now he's totally invested. Like he is 100% invested.
How is that for him? I know you guys probably have conversations. Like, how is that for him? What is some of his conversation as far as his transition into that type of lifestyle?
Well, he took to it very easily, actually a lot easier than I thought he was going to. He is a big hunter. And that's caused a little bit of friction between us at times. But, I mean, I go hunting too. I have no issues really with it, but, he was amazing just now. Like when I had our second son, he was out in the barn, I mean, I was only not out there for like 2 days. So, but he took right over. He was feeding, watering, making sure everybody was comfortable. He probably actually did a better job at it than I do. But, I mean, now he is so invested in it that, I mean, he'll see animals and he'll be like, babe, you should get one of those. Like,
what's the last thing he saw?
Well, like, I'll tell him, I'm like, I married you so that you say no to me, so that I don't have like a million animals in my house. But, now he's the one like trying to bring things home and I have to say no, which I never thought I was going to have to say no to bringing animals home. But yeah.
Those are the conversations that get fun because my girl, she sent me a text yesterday, like, let's revisit this baby otter situation. I'm like, what? What baby otter situation?
Mm-hmm. Yep. That sounds exactly like Noah. Like I have to almost play Inception with him, like on certain things. I have to like do this little mind drop and just be like, oh, that would be so cool. And like, just play it off like all cool and whatnot. And then
so you just dropping seeds left and right.
I mean, it works though, because then like a month later, he'll be like, did you know that people have like, pet camels? And I'll be like, what? Oh my gosh, you're crazy. Like,
no idea. But they're selling one up the street for
exactly, like so. He's limited me. He said no more African animals. We've had some bad luck with African animals, so no more. But everything else, fair game, I guess. I don't know.
Got you. I wonder if that's because of the climate or just the environment.
I think so. I mean, there's more exotic like large cats and such in the state of Texas than there are like in the wild typically on most breeds. But Texas is really difficult because I mean the weather, it's all over the place. We'll go from 75 degrees one day to 30 degrees that night. And I mean, you can't acclimate to that. I can't acclimate to that, let alone my horses. I mean, I in Alaska we never put blankets on them, but here in Texas I do blanket my horses, which sounds really weird, but I blanket them just because sometimes it drops down to 5 degrees. And I mean, I can't expect them to have a full winter coat when it was 65 degrees earlier.
That makes sense, because in Alaska they would have time to start growing that coat. The weather would probably stay the same, so they would have their little fur coat on. Yep.
And so all my guys, they've got blankets on right now and they're all bundled up and happy. So there we go. I like it. Do you ever have the issue of your ponies just wanting to sit in the rain? Like I'm pony bashing right now. My ponies love to just sit in the rain. I'm like, there's a barn right there. You're standing in the doorway getting soaked. Yep. My minis and my ponies will stand out in the rain all day, every day. And then it's sunny and they'll be like inside. And I'm like, go out, but, my big horses now, they do not appreciate the rain at all. My gelding, my gray horse, if it rains, he is inside or he is at the gate and he will be screaming at me, Mom, I need to go inside. So, yeah.
I love it. What animals do you communicate with the most and they communicate back?
My water buffalo. I will go outside and they don't moo like a cow. It's like a muted like meh.
I like that, meh.
And I can actually do it so perfectly that she will get really excited and come running to me. But if I mess up and I sound a little off, she'll just look at me and just be like, try again.
That's not it.
Yeah.
Do better.
So,
Love
so
a
that
judgmental water buffalo.
Well, and then the big guy, we have some sort of weird connection. And I think that's why I know that people don't follow me on Facebook for like me. They follow me for Hank.
I think it's a good combo though. Like that combination of you and him, it's just such a distinct dynamic, a unique dynamic that it just makes so much sense and is great entertainment and education.
Well, and I think that there is a connection there that Hank and I share, because I mean, he'll come running when he sees me and we'll talk and, all that kind of stuff. I'll talk to him and he gets like just so excited and he loves just listening and, he'll lay down for me to scratch his belly and it's like, I mean, he loves me more than my dogs love me. And I know my dogs absolutely adore me, but that water buffalo, I mean, he's my man. And I've had him longer than I've had my husband. And
how was that introduction? Hank, I want you to meet my husband. How did that go?
My husband, since he is a hunter, he asked me if he could hunt Hank on the first date. Yeah. And I'm sitting there like, who are you? Like,
right.
Like, no. And I was done with the date at that point.
That was it. Red flags going off left and right.
And then of course he comes back and all that sort of stuff. And he still brings up putting Hank on the wall and it makes me but when Hank gets naughty, he threatens him a little bit, and I'm like, Hank, you gotta keep it together, bro.
Tighten up, Hank.
Like, so, but they get along great. Hank has fully accepted Noah, and he, that water buffalo though, he loves my kids, and I think that's why he likes Noah, is because he knows that Noah's, part of the reason they're there. But I mean, Hank would abandon me fully for my son. He kid, and it's great to see. It's really nice to see. So
That's
yeah.
really cool. How was that introduction? Like introducing your son. This is your baby to a 1,000,000-pound water buffalo.
You know, I have people give me so much grief about having the kids out at the ranch, just in general.
Mhm.
You know, Kaysen was 5 days old when I put him on a horse for the first time. You know, I mean, we got up there and I was on my show horse, my favorite horse, my best horse.
Yeah.
And you know, we just went for a little loop, and you know, that was it. But it's one of those things that I trust my animals so much, and they're my first kids, you know.
Mhm.
So it's really more so, it just feels like I'm introducing them to like their older sibling or something. Like, it doesn't
Yeah.
feel like I'm doing anything crazy. You know, I know all these
Mhm.
people that are like, you have this teeny tiny little baby out there with this, you know, 2,600-pound water buffalo or whatever he weighs. And, you know, they're like, he could kill you and kill, you know, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I mean, you could get in your car and get killed in a car accident.
Mhm.
So, you know, I'm not going to live in fear. I'm not going to put my kids in harm's way. If I feel like there's something that's going on that they don't need to be a part of, then they're not going to be a part of it. But, you know, I mean, we're all family here on the ranch. So, yeah.
No, that makes sense. That makes plenty of sense. Plus, you can kind of feel the energy anytime. I know I can when I walk into certain enclosures, and I don't have
Yeah.
what you have, but I got goats and ponies and ducks and chickens. And I know when the ducks don't want to be bothered, or the goats
Yeah.
just want treats and nothing else. Like, so you kind of feel it.
Yeah. Well, and Hank is very, he is very obvious about when he wants to be naughty,
Mhm.
which seems like all the time. But you know, there's days that I look out the window and he's like running by with a water trough on his head and just like, Mom, look at me, you know. I'm like,
Look what I did.
yeah, like, come on, man, like, just give me a break. But I mean, you know, and then those days I know he's probably going to be a little more uppity than on the days that it's 100 degrees outside and he just wants to go lay in his pond, you
Mhm.
know. So it's all about just knowing your animals and, you know, spending time, you know, on the ranch and stuff. And yeah. So.
That's cool. Give me a walkthrough, like a day in the life. You get up in the morning. What are you doing? What is a typical walkthrough on the ranch? What do you have to do?
Well, you know, it depends. It depends on if I have rescues or not.
Okay.
If I have rescues and they're severe neglect cases, then
Mhm.
I'm up almost every night or every few hours, you know, throughout the night. Just because they have to eat every so often. We try to keep them on a, you know, 2 to 4 hour schedule.
Okay.
So if I have rescues, it's a lot more demanding. Going out there, you know, 3 times a night just to give them a little extra food, that kind of stuff. Otherwise, get up first thing in the morning. You know, a lot of times I'm trying to sneak out there before kids wake up and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
And then feed everybody, clean stalls if I need to, work horses. You know, typically I'm out there. My son eventually comes out and he's running loose, you know, so try to keep an eye on him
Try
to
to
make
keep
sure.
him corralled.
Yeah, you know, not doing anything too crazy. And then, you know, I try to put my hands on every animal every day.
Okay.
You know, that gives me a head count, make sure, you know, nobody got picked off in the middle of the night, or, you know, nobody has any cuts or injuries, nothing
Mhm.
like that. You know, so yeah, that's a lot of what my day is just kind of going over animals, you know, saying hi, that kind of stuff. If I have project horses to help kind of balance out the rescue,
Mhm.
then it's a lot of working with them and trying to get them ready for their new home. So
Okay. I got
yeah,
you. The
yeah.
project horses, those are the horses you're training for someone, or training just to be right.
Yeah. So, yeah, the difference between my project and the rescue horses is the project horses are horses that I am looking to actually make money off of.
Got you.
Because those are going to be the ones that I can, you know, offer to the public and
Mhm.
say, you know, hey, this horse is, you know, moving well. He is good with kids. He's, you know,
Mhm.
all that kind of stuff, and offer it to
Got you.
somebody. A lot of those horses are kill pen horses, so it's illegal in the United States to kill horses for consumption.
Yeah.
And so the kill pens are kind of like a dog pound where they hold them for a little while and then ship them to slaughter or that kind of stuff. So I spend a lot of time out at the kill pen, kind of going through and trying to find some horses that I can help, whether they're rescue horses or they're my project horses, which then I can kind of rehome and all that kind of stuff. So.
Okay. All right. I love that. First time me hearing that. I'm just getting into the horse talk. So this is amazing.
There's a lot to learn.
I see. I watch your page. I see you be a dentist. I seen you be a farrier. I've seen a lot.
It's insane. I mean, especially coming from Alaska, because nobody ever thinks that Alaska is like horse country, but there are a ton of horses up there. So yeah, coming from Alaska, nobody ever goes up there really for like clinics or anything like that. And so I went to college for horses, for equine science and such. And so I learned a lot while I was there. But then when I got to Texas and I actually started working professionally, I mean, it blew my mind, the things that I was learning. And, I still to this day, if I can go shadow a vet or something like that, just, I'm like, you don't even have to pay me. I'm just here for the experience. Like, I just want to learn because that's something I can take back to my crew and apply. So yeah, I love it. It's, I love learning.
Man, that's pretty cool. Like that is awesome that you went to school, but that hands-on experience is, you're saying, it's like nothing like it.
Oh yeah. No. And it's hard because it's really kind of like when I try to hire somebody to help out or, it's hard because you can go to school for it, but maybe you passed with a C, whereas you don't, if you're out there and actually doing it, you have to, it's make or break. There's no, C, B kind of stuff. It's make or break. So, it can be it can be shocking for people who, especially on my page, because I am, I post everything. If it's bloody, if it's, because it's part of my life. I didn't start this page just, to be a social media influencer for people or whatever. I started this page just so people could actually see what was going on in the horse industry, and the rescue world and that kind of stuff. So, we
love the transparency. It's so genuine, but it's also educational because some people see the glory pages and the highlight reel pages, and it's like, okay, I want to get into it. And then you get into it and your horse needs to have a tooth pulled and you had no idea that that's part of it.
Yeah. I mean, I have people all the time, like I'll post videos about, teeth or about cleaning sheaths or something like that. And they're like, oh, well, my grandparents never had to do that back in the, and I'm like, and how long did your grandparents' horses live? Did they, were they bucking you off all the time? Were they, like that kind of stuff? I'm like, it's, there's a lot more to it than what it was back then. And that's why we're always constantly growing and learning things is, because now we apply stuff that people didn't know back then.
Right. It's always learning. And it's good because it gives the animals a better quality of life too.
Yeah, exactly. I brought one gelding in that first time I got on him, he broke right in two underneath me. And I mean, he was bucking. It was a pain buck, it was a pain response. And cleaned his sheath and he never bucked again. He was my best lesson horse. I could put little 4-year-old kids on him and he was awesome, so, and that's my goal, is to educate people and to get kids active outside. That's the whole goal of Nine Spur Ranch is to get people outside and just kind of teach them how to take care of animals and how to respect them.
I love that. How'd you come up with the name Nine Spur Ranch?
So 9, I am number 9 out of 14 children.
Okay.
There's actually more than that, but 14 of my mother's children. There's actually a total of 21. And then my in Alaska we're on the Ring of Fire, and so there's all these volcanoes, and one of the volcanoes out front is Spur with 2 R's.
Gotcha. That is creative. Nobody's gonna have that.
No. I put a lot of thought into things. Like I'm not somebody to just whip it out. I put a lot of thought into things.
Cool, man. We down to our last few questions. So what is your go-to feed store? How do you supply all these animals, whatever they need?
So I use DNL in Denton, or not, well, Denton and in Sanger. It's kind of a chain feed store, but it's privately owned by a lot of locals and such. So so I use DNL, and they're awesome. They actually deliver directly and unload directly to our property, which has been a godsend with having children. Because I mean, I feel like every horse person understands the struggle of having to unload 100-pound bale of hay, 20 100-pound bales of hay in 110 degrees. Like,
right.
So that's what we use, and it's been really great getting all our feed and stuff from them, and it feels like a little family. They sent me a Christmas wreath for my door this year.
Okay. That's cool. That's really good. It's always good to have a great relationship with the people you have to do business with.
Yeah. Well, and there's been times that I'll call in an order and, pregnancy brain and all that stuff, I'll forget something, and they'll, call me back later and like, hey, your order's a little different. Like, did you mean to do this? Or, and like, oh, no, I didn't. Like, thank you.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's a great relationship to have.
Yeah.
I know your hay bill is crazy.
Yeah. I actually try not to look at my bill.
I understand. I definitely understand.
Yes, it's one of those that they have my credit card on file, and I just say, go for it.
Yeah, go for it. Mm-hmm. What is the most used thing on the ranch?
Like the most used equipment or the most?
Yeah, let's go with equipment first.
Probably the manure forks. Those things take a beating. Like it's we're pretty rough on those.
Buffalo, having water buffalo poo would definitely take a beating on a manure fork.
Yes. So those manure forks, I tell you, I mean, even just the other day, Noah was trying to help me clean stalls and snap. I'm like, all right. So yeah, I've got one fork actually that I keep hidden so nobody else can get to it. So I always have something.
That's your fork. That's like the good pen.
Yes. Like I keep it hidden and nobody knows where it is.
There we go. Unlocking 9 Spur secrets right now. All right. Second to last question. If you could go back and give yourself one piece of advice before you got into the actual rescue aspect and all of this stuff, what would it be?
I think it would just be to be prepared for like anything and everything. Because I mean, that's the thing is every time I think I've like seen it all or whatever, something new just gets completely thrown my direction. And I mean, it's always changing and you're always growing because of that. And, I've had to learn over time that you have to be flexible. You have to realize that if this is the path that you're going to go down, it's going to be your entire life is dedicated to it. You don't get to call in sick. You don't get to, so, I mean, like, yeah, I would love to go on vacation. Like, that would be great. But, this is my life. I don't get to just go on, a vacation a year or anything like that. Cause who's going to take care of the animals? Right. And I wouldn't change that for anything. I really do. I love it. And, but definitely learning to be flexible. That's been kind of one of my biggest challenges is realizing that this is the path that I chose. And, here we are.
There we go. I love that. But at least when doing something you love, every day can kind of be a vacation because you're getting those mental health breaks in between.
Yeah. And, and that's what it is. I mean, the last month, in December, it was a bit of a struggle with losing Scarlett, and I was really struggling with kind of giving Hank a vacation is what I'm calling it, at my friends, because, you know, I felt like I was passing him off and that kind of stuff. And so I was really kind of struggling. But, you know, sometimes we do have to make those choices for ourselves, because in, you know, hindsight, it's helping the animals too. So, yeah. And like I said, I'm so excited to have Hank back and, you know, all that kind of stuff. Like, I can't wait till he's here doing all his crazy shenanigans again.
Taking out fences and stuff.
Maybe not that part.
Right. I love it. We really appreciate you coming on the show and spending some time with us. I got to let you get back to 9 Spur Ranch. And that baby, I heard the baby is ready for some mom attention. There he is. Oh.
He's ready to eat.
There we go. Well, we will not keep stand between that man and a meal.
Well, thank you guys for having us, and you know, bringing some attention to our Facebook. And I mean, my Instagram and TikTok is not too crazy, so, you know, I mean, people are welcome to follow me there if they want, but it's definitely, you know, we're definitely Facebook bound. So
absolutely. The Adventures of Shishana Rourke. Make sure you guys follow. How can they donate to the Rancher to the Rescue?
So we do have a couple of posted links on our Facebook. You know, typically we have GoFundMe's when we have like an active rescue. We also have, you know, just if people want to donate through Venmo or PayPal, you know, that sort of stuff. So we do have all that posted and linked at the top of our page. So, you know, and they're always welcome to message me and reach out, and I'm always happy to answer questions. So.
All right. Thank you so much. And we appreciate that interaction with having 500,000 followers and still being able to go back in those comments and talk to people. That's amazing among itself. So appreciate you.
Yeah, no problem. I love educating people. So
there we go. And that's another episode of Excellent Adventures. This time we have the Water Buffalo Whisperer live with us. So thank you again.